What's up guys, I'm Phoenix Master 1 and welcome to my builds guide and unit review of Rearmed Lucina, Inigo, Severa, and also Laurent. So this time we have got Rearmed Lucina as an Axe Cavalier, and she has got Arcane Thrima as her weapon, which does give her minus and special cooldown, and at the start of turn she's going to be able to inflict the foes closest to her and the foes in 2 spaces of them for -6 attack and defense debuff. So this is going to be having good synergy with the sabotage effect in the secondary effect of this weapon, and this is still going to be really helpful for just providing the debuffing support to your allies even if you're not going to be participating in the combat. And then she's able to get the effects in the combat, which is going to be giving her +5 to all of her stats, and she also gets the sabotage effect in the combat, which is going to be debuffing foes' stats depending on the highest penalty on each stat on the target foe and the foes in 2 spaces of them. So even if they have debuff neutralization, you're still going to be counting any kind of ally in 2 spaces of them for this kind of debuff. And then she does have the full tempo effect built in this weapon, which is going to be Null Guard and also Null Special Acceleration. If they have any kind of Special Fighter, Heavy Blade, or Plet skill, we're just going to be able to nullify that. And finally, if her speed is more than foe, then she's able to get the Null Follow-up effect. So I've made an entire video going over the best users of it and the builds with this weapon. And Rearmed Lucina is going to be an amazing user of this weapon because of her preferred assist in Future Sight. So this is going to be swapping places just like Future Vision, and then after you swap the places, you're able to give yourself and the target ally +6 attack and speed buff and also the Treachery status. So keep in mind that Treachery status does give you true damage based on the total buffs that you've got. And with this skill and her Alarm skill, you're able to get 24 true damage per hit, which is definitely pretty good, but you'll have to watch out for the Ploy status because that is going to be nullifying your Treachery status. And she also brings a new status with her 40% damage reduction on foe's first attack in the player phase. So this is only going to be there for the initiation and not for the tanking in the enemy phase. And by using this assist, you're going to be getting another action just like you have before with Future Vision of Legendary Lucina. So having Future Sight on a Cavalier is really good because you're able to get another action, and that is good for the action economy in something like Summoner Duels. And also in Aether Raids offense, having more actions on your units is going to be helping you. And Lucina can also support her allies with the Treachery status and also the damage reduction status. In the latter part, it's not going to be helpful too much for the enemy phase tanking, but still it is going to be another status effect which is going to be helping contribute towards activating the distant counter effect out of a prime skill. So she's going to be able to make fantastic use out of this weapon along with her assist, and then she has got Alarm Defense Resistance, which is going to be able to give her another status effect in Canto 1 and fully allows her to buff herself up for the Treachery usage. And she does come with the tier 4 snack skill, which is amazing on Rearmed Lucina and also on any kind of Cavalier like her who has got another action, namely Brave Crom. So that is going to be another unit who can make use of the snack skill with another action. And for her stat spread, she does have base 47 speed with a super boon, which is amazing and should be the boon that you should be going for most of the time. She also has 43 base attack with also a super boon. So this is going to be the stat that you ascend if you're going to be spending any kind of florets on her. And if you're going to be building her up on a budget, then you can simply give her Luna as the special and run attack speed catch so that you can get the offenses in both phases. And this is pretty much going to be the budget build that you can run on her, but she does have access to a lot more tools. And because she's a rearmed unit, she's not going to be disappearing from a barracks if you fodder her. So she can often hold these skills and help you duplicate them and chain them. And No Quarter is going to be one of those skills that you can give to her. So she can make amazing use of this special for piercing through the damage reduction, while she herself gets the damage reduction out of Future Sight. And Flared Sparrow and Assassin Strike is going to be stacking up for the pre-combat damage. So this is going to be more of a player phase build, but still really effective because of the damage reduction piercing, because of the pre-combat damage, and also the fact that she has got Future Sight giving her Treachery, which does boost her damage output. And then at max investment, you can even run her with the Prime skill because she can already give herself 3 status effects from her base kit, with Future Sight giving you Treachery and damage reduction status, while the Alarm skill gives you the Canto 1 status. So at that point, you just have to outsource 1 additional status effect, and then she's going to be able to get the distant counter effect out of the Prime skill. and Gambit is going to be one of the few options that Cavaliers have got so that they can get the damage reduction and also the true damage. And stacking up the true damage from Gambit along with Future Sight's Treachery is going to be going well, and even if you have got minus on special cooldown weapon, you can still get 40% damage reduction and also 10 true damage per hit. So it is going to be the option for a more of a bulkier build, and then you can go with the Squad A Sacred Seal so that she can have a lot more bulk. Severa is a sword infantry unit with Striving Sword as her preferred weapon, so this gives her minus on special cooldown, which makes Godlike Reflexes a 2 cooldown special, and then if she's within 3 spaces of an ally, she's able to get the in-combat effect, and this is going to be giving her plus X to all of her stats, and this is going to be depending on 25% of foes' attack stat at start of their combat, subtracted from 4. So the foe needs to have 72 visible attack so that he can get the max 14 to all of their stats in the combat. And the good thing about this weapon is that it can work even from 3 spaces away, so it is helpful for tanking when facing stuff like Duels and Aki that can pierce through your damage reduction by taking the debuffs from your allies. So if you give her debuff neutralization and park her away from the allies, she's going to be able to easily tank a threat like Duels and Aki, and she can inflict guard on the foe in the combat, and she can neutralize any kind of foe's percentage-based damage reduction skill on her special triggers, even from like defensive specials like Godlike Reflexes or Miracle, which is something that the other units are not really able to do. I mean, we have seen, damage reduction piercing before with the specials, but wasn't really possible with the defensive specials. So she can run Godlike Reflexes, get the damage reduction that is unpierceable, and then pierce through the damage reduction of the enemy with her weapon. And it does have Special Spiral 3 built in, so if the special triggered before or during the combat, then she's able to get -2 special cooldown after the combat. So this is going to be helping her loop Godlike Reflexes really well, and she's easily one of the best users of Godlike Reflexes because of having a weapon like this, and also because she can loop it really easily without really requiring any kind of pledge skill or any kind of special charges effect, because that can always get nullified if you face any kind of opponent with a tempo skill. But something like this is going to be a lot more sustainable for looping Godlike Reflexes. And she does come with a new skill in Buffer 4, which is a branch of skill from Shield Pulse 3. So basically it is going to be giving you the super quick and pulse effect if you have a defensive special, and this is going to be setting up Godlike Reflexes for the looping with her weapon. And then it has got the other effect of the tier 4 dot skills, which is debuffing foes speed and defense by 4, and also has got Phantom Speed plus 7, and it can give you damage reduction up to 50%, which is pierceable, but still, she does have different sources of damage reduction with Buffer 4, and then Godlike Reflexes, which is not really pierceable, and she can even stack this up with Speed Smoke 4 or any kind of dot status if you're going to be using her with Attuned Peony. And she does come with Attack Speed Finish 4, which is really good now because we do have the distant counter melee Sacred Seal, so she can easily run that and still get the healing and true damage out of the skill. Overall, Severa is a pretty good god sword with base 47 speed with a super boon, and she can get plus 14 to all of her stats with the weapon. And like I said before, being able to function away from her allies is going to be a huge boon against many of the threats, and she can easily loop Godlike Reflexes really well, and you can even use other specials if you want to, as you'll see in a moment. So if you're going to be building her up with the Divine Code's fodder, then you can run Attack Speed Oath 4 as her Slotsy skill, and this is going to be giving you more offenses, which is always helpful with this kind of god sword. She doesn't really have null follow-up in her weapon, so you can also outsource the null follow-up status onto her, and that can help her tremendously. She does have everything with the different sources of damage reduction, the healing, and the true damage, and then you can also run Speed Smoke 4 if you want to stack up the damage reduction with Buffer 4, but keep in mind all of that damage reduction is going to be pierceable. And Attack Oath Echo can also be run as the Attune skill, and it is going to be helping you get the mobility and also just buffer up for the attack and speed. Now, because Severa does have Special Spiral built in her weapon, she can easily run a Vantage build in Aether Raids offense if you use any kind of unit with the friendly fire damage like Winter Bernadetta, Spring Bernadetta, or Rearmed Lucina. We have a lot of them. Pretty much you can use any of them and then use Reciprocal Aid and fall into the Vantage range. And then you can stack up the Special Spiral 3 in her weapon with Time Pulse 4 to loop Ignis in the Vantage range. So this is going to be helping you just trigger Ignis in the Vantage range, which is going to be piercing through the damage reduction of the enemy because of her weapon. So this is going to be a really solid Vantage build that you can run on her. You're going to be needing to provide her with the special cooldown pre-charging essentially, but that could be done with Asker and Garrick and stuff like that. And she's an infantry unit, so it's not really all that hard to do. So this is one of the unique things which Severa can do if you don't really want to run her with the Godlike Reflexes build. And then she can do another unique build. Even though it's not the best build, it is still an option with Miracle Looping. So you can run Null Counter Disrupt to retaliate back to the Wind Sweep and Fire Sweep foes. And then you can run Distant Counter Melee Sacred Seal and still get the healing out of the finish kill. So Pledge can be a good skill with the Miracle Looping build because you can get these special charges and just loop Miracle because of the healing of the finish kill. Now keep in mind that you'll have to watch out for any kind of guard effect, tempo effects, or any kind of fatal smoke effects because that is going to be stopping the Miracle Looping essentially. But still, this can be a very fun build and a unique build that Severa can do, just like the good old times when you used to have the Miracle Looping with Shield Pulse, but now she can do it with this kind of weapon and also with the Distant Counter Melee Sacred Seal. Inigo is a demote sword infantry unit who is going to be present in the 3-star 4-star pool, and we did get him as a free quest reward, and he has got Null Blade Plus as the inhittable weapon. So this is basically a non-seasonal version of Petalfoil Blade Plus of Valentine Hana, and this is going to be giving you +5 attack and speed, and also the full Null Follow-up effect and +5 true damage if you've got more speed than the foe. And he does have attack speed Form 3 at 4-star, which is pretty good on a budget, and also Rat 3 at 5-star. I really hope that we can get the tier 4 version of Rat because even though it's not the most insane skill, it is still really fun. And then he does have a stat spread that is going to be kind of similar to that of Lapis and also of Lumera, but he does have a bit more physical bulk than Lapis, and he does have a bit more speed than Lumera. So he can function as a pretty competent sword infantry unit, especially with Arcane Devourer as a solid arcane weapon that we've got. And even if you don't give him Arcane Devourer, he can still function with Null Blade Plus as it's a decent weapon. And if you're going to be building him up on a budget, then you can simply give him Speed Smoke 3 as his Slotsy skill and run Reposition, and attack speed form can be the Sacred Seal that he can use. We all got 2 5-star copies of Inigo, so he's a bit easier to plus and merge than someone like Lapis, who was not really given out as a quest reward. And if you want to invest a bit more into him, then Arcane Devourer is going to be the natural progression because it also has the Null follow-up just like Null Blade, but it also has minus on special cooldown, the special charges effect, and also gives you 40% damage reduction on foe's first attack. So it can be really helpful with Vital Astra because you can just loop it with Time Pulse 4, and then you can get the true damage out of the finish kill and Spurn 4, while also getting the damage reduction. So all of the damage reduction of this kind of build is completely pierceable, but still, it could be run with Arcane Devourer. And if you don't really want to use them with Arcane Devourer, then we do have other options like Farmer's Tool Plus, which can be run with bonus doubler 4 in the slot A, and then you can just run the Distant Counter Sacred Seal. So with Gambit and Aether or Miracle, you're going to be able to get 50% damage reduction that is not really dependent on the speed check, and also gives you 15 true damage. And if you run him with Young or Legendary Eliwood, then you're going to be able to have triple bonus doubler, and he can easily be used with this kind of build. But ultimately, I do think that this is going to be his optimal build with Arcane Devourer and Godlike Reflexes, giving you that unpierceable damage reduction. And then you can run Buffer 4 from Severa so that you can pre-charge Godlike Reflexes and easily loop it because of these special charges of Arcane Devourer. And because we already have these special charges, we don't really need to run a Pledge skill, so Inside Attack Speed could be an option so that you can get extra stats for the Omni tanking. Laurent is the first 3-star, 4-star summon pool colorless infantry mage, and he does have the Deer Tome that we've seen before, which simply gives you +5 attack in the combat and inflicts -5 attack and guard effect on the foe in the combat. So this is a decent weapon, but obviously not going to be holding a candle against the arcane weapons or any kind of modern units that we've got. And unfortunately, because of being a colorless infantry mage, he has got only 2 options. Either he has to run this Deer Tome, or he has to run the Vulture Tome from Nime, who's also a colorless infantry mage. So until we get an arcane colorless tome, he's going to be stuck with only 2 options, which is not the best thing. And he does have a stat spread where He has got base 46 attack, which is pretty good with his super boon, and he also has resistance super boon with base 43 resistance, so you can easily make use of the ploy skills and the sabotage skills, which can at least help. And as a fodder, he does have attack resistance ideal 3 at 4-star and rouse attack resistance at 5-star. And if you're going to be building him up on a budget, then you can simply give him speed, defense, link, and reposition from a Norn, and that is going to be helping you just fully buff him up. And if you're going to be investing even more into him, then you can run him with the finish 4 skill for the healing, the true damage, and also run special spiral 4, which is going to be giving you that full damage reduction piercing. But because we don't really have any kind of arcane weapon with minus on special cooldown, we cannot really run Iceberg, and Glimmer is the special that you can run, and a ploy skill is going to be amazing on him if you're going to be using him at this kind of high investment. And you can also run him with Remote Mirror, giving him that damage reduction in the player phase, and the guard effect with the tempo 4 skill can be really good, which can help him pierce the damage reduction as well. Not the full extent like Special Spiral 4, but still this is going to be an option that you can run on him. And if you want to run him with the Vulture Tome, then you can easily get the debuffs with the ploy skill and also by running Sabotage attack resistance. So the Sabotage skill is going to be helping you get another status effect on the enemy. And if you run him with Rearmed Plumeria, then you can give him the foe penalty doubler effect, which is going to be going really well with the Sabotage skill and the ploy skill combined. So I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, then make sure to leave a like and a comment, helps you tremendously. And if you really enjoyed, you could always support me directly by using super thanks down below or by becoming a YouTube member. And for more FEH videos, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell, because YouTube sub boxes are about as functional as Felix after seeing Severa. So with that said, I'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.